Welcome to Discovering. Much of what we do here in the Upper Peninsula revolves around the outdoors. We'll take a look at the life of Lake Superior, a program designed to teach kids about our outdoors. And the UPSA hands out their first ever Outstanding Sportsman Award. That's all tonight, right here on Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forests thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. The call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
Growing up in the UP, many of us have certainly spent our fair share of time in the outdoors. I've said it before, sometimes all it takes is a little push in the right direction at the right age. Somewhere along the line, someone introduced each of us to the nature around us. Here's a look at a group that's been introducing kids to the wonder of the outdoors for years.
So the Life of Lake Superior program is a Michigan State University extension program. This is its 16th year. It brings kids from all over Alger County to various sites in the county to experience natural history, cultural history, outdoor education, outdoor recreation skills.
Kind of the whole idea is to get kids outside and explore and learn about the outdoors and the natural resources that we're so lucky to have in this region.
This year our 4 themes, vary anything from birds to survival to Coast Guard history. Today is the day we're doing survival, so teaching kids fire building, shelter building, animal tracking, water treatment, what types of foods you can find out if you're lost in the woods.
Did a little bit of this last year and it was a huge hit, so we wanted to do a little bit more with it this year. So it's really a full package day for the kids, and it's a healthy experience, it's an active outdoors, it's an educational experience. It's just a really neat opportunity.
Clear Lake Education staff, Rachel and Morgan, are here teaching how to track animals, what different animal signs you can look for in the woods, because in a survival situation, animals could be a good source of food as well as a good source of something to stay away from. So they're showing different furs and different pelts of different animals that can be found in the UP, as well as then they're looking at animal tracks and then making a plaster cast to take home, so they have a little memory of their day out here today.
So what we're doing today is a tracking program for Life of Lake Superior. Basically giving kids an opportunity to explore how they pay attention to the world around them. We're aiming both, to let them have some fun and foster that sense of connectivity so that they have an easier time defining who and where they are by the world around them.
So included in that is printmaking with molds. It is a way for them to connect with an animal and take this home with them. So right here I have a immature black bear print to give to them on their way out. That helps remind them to be stewards of these animals. We also have actual story cards that we're having them make. We are giving them printed cards, and they look on that and they're looking for both subtle and obvious clues that tell a story based on what the animal was doing. We have actual prints into the sand, and we're having the kids match scat to prints with pictures so that they're trying to decide based on the size of the scat and the size of the print what animal it belongs to. We also have we call it a discovery table. On that table we have lots of furs and prints and books for them to explore on their own pace so that they can actually touch and feel these animals and really get a sense for what they are.
We've got otter, black bear, we've got a nice beaver, bobcat, just some basic furs. And this is great because then they want to know, this is what it looks like. Now I want to understand what to look for to tell that it's been here.
So one of the things that we have going on today is Todd Thierret is our survival expert with fire building.
What I do is take a whole bunch of this stuff, start with the small stuff and then the bigger stuff. Just put a bunch, if the ground's loose, just kind of stab it into the ground. Again, leave a little spot for your tinder bundle. Put some bigger sticks on there. If you have some sticks that are branched and stuff, you can kind of lock them together to hold it up to keep it from crushing itself, or just push them into the ground.
So he's teaching the kids how to build a bow drill and then how to use the bow drill to actually try and start a fire, which is a skill that most kids don't know. They just think you rub two sticks together and it starts, but it's a lot more complex than that. And so showing them proper form, proper technique, what types of wood to use, and then if that's too difficult, how to use just flint and steel, because you don't always disappear in the woods with a lighter and with matches, or even are prepared for that. So teaching them how to be prepared to get lost, what types of things you need to know.
The spindle and the fireboard really needs to be from the same piece of wood, or at least the same type of wood. You want about equal friction on each one, so equal hardness, equal dryness, the same type of wood. The handhold would be ideal if it was a harder wood. You want it to burn in a little bit to create a socket. Your bow should be tied securely at each end. You want to make it adjustable, so if it needs tightened, like on this end I just have one knot. You want to be able to wrap your spindle around it without too much effort. It's good if your bow is a little bit flexible, so you have a little bit of tension there. And you want to adjust your string to where, with the leverage of the stick, you can get it like this. We're still making our bow drill right now. It's not going to make a fire until we burn it in. We have to burn in a notch on the handhold, and we have to burn in the notch on the fireboard. You want to start burning just a little bit in from this edge. You want to be a little ways from the end so that it doesn't split and break off. Just make a little divot with the tip of your knife. Try to keep it centered and keep it level. Keeping it level will keep it centered. It'll just go lightly up and down, up and down. Now remember, we can't just stop now. Just because there's smoke, you can't get fire from it yet. We're just burning in these notches. If your string starts slipping on your spindle, you're either putting too much downward pressure or your string is too loose. This is just some sap I found oozing out of the side of a spruce tree last night. I just want a little bit on there. The heat from this is gonna melt it in pretty good, because now I don't want any more friction on the top. I want all the friction on the bottom. Just work it in this notch. We're gonna cut a notch. It's gonna be, see this circle? It's gonna be like a slice of that pie. Once you get smoke, add a little bit more pressure and keep going about 10 to 15 more strokes until it's really pumping out smoke. And stop, carefully remove this. See it's still smoking right there in that notch? Carefully lift this. You can give it a little air. There's no big rush at this point. You want to keep it burning. Very carefully knock it out. And it helps too to loosely like clamshell it or wrap it a little bit and then blow through the tinder so it kind of buffers your breath so you're not blowing it out. And just stick it in there. Make sure it can reach some birch bark, and you're good to go.
So one of the things that makes this whole Life of Lake Superior program come together is the volunteers. We couldn't do it without, there's a lot of support and a lot of volunteers in the community that give their time and their ideas and their passions for working with youth and for education, and they're what makes this program successful.
Well, we volunteered a few years ago. We've had a camp here for about 8 years, and then last year we moved here full-time. So it gave us the opportunity to volunteer every week for Life of Lake Superior, and we love it.
Well, my life was spent as an educator. I was in education for 41 years. It's important to give kids experiences beyond their video games and television, and getting kids outside is about as good a way as I can think of to give them valid life experiences. So anything I can do to help, I'm willing to do.
A big part of Life of Lake Superior is the nutrition portion of it. So also through MSU Extension, our Health and Nutrition Institute, we have Vicki Ballas, who's Captain Nutrition today, and she teaches kids about the different food groups and goes kind of along with the theme. So our theme today is wild edibles and foods you can find out in you know, the UP. So we had sheep sorrel and wood sorrel and purslane for a snack. And then just other herbs and things that you can just find out while walking around so that you can survive.
Today is a survival theme, so I try to have food that is, of course, nutritious, but also things that they might find in the wild or grow themselves. So, there's a lot of wild edibles that you can eat in a survival situation or even just your regular life. I collect and gather wild edibles all the time. So one of the examples that we have right here in this field, it's called sheep sorrel. So do you guys see this down here? It is all over this field. You can eat that. If anybody wants to grab it, I know we've all been walking on it. But I also have some here, okay? So we have mushroom tacos because you can gather mushrooms. And we have a lot of other veggies in it that you could grow in a garden. We also have some insects. We have queen weaver ants and some kind of a grub. They're dried. But these kids have been eating insects for about 5 years now, so they're pretty used to it. And if I don't bring it, they're disappointed. We're also working on reducing our waste this year at Life of Lake Superior. And on our very first day, we had 44 pounds of trash. And last week we had 8 pounds of trash, so we really reduced it a lot. So today I'm curious to see if we can even get it below 8 pounds. Yeah, you know, a lot of the kids too, you know, we're explaining to them, you know, that our earth just can hold so much garbage and we generate so much. I've encouraged them to go check out our landfill just to kind of take a look at it and think about where your trash goes and how it's a mountain, a big smelly mountain, and hopefully that will encourage them to think twice about all the trash that they create. A lot of the kids, when we do this, I ask them what are ways that we can reduce our trash, and they came up with all these ideas. And a lot of them have said they've never even thought about any of this before. So this is a kind of a first time they're even thinking about their waste and all the trash that they accumulate. So we talk also about leave no trace. You know, we're always out in the wilderness. You can't leave anything. We don't leave a speck of food on the ground, and of course, no trash either. And so the kids really learn a lot about that too.
Another of our sessions today is with Harry Lindquist, and he's teaching kids how to build survival shelters. Suddenly you find yourself lost out in the woods and need to spend the night unexpectedly. You're not going to have a tent with you all the time. So what types of shelters can you build, rudimentary, that will keep you warm, keep you safe, keep you dry until you can be found the next day?
So you take the compass, you'll turn that in here, just like that, right? So which way is north now by looking at this? Which way do you think north is?
Fred in the shed and call him
that way, right directly this way. So we're trying to teach the kids emergency shelter building. If they're out hiking or hunting or fishing or trapping and they find themselves in a situation where they need to spend the night in the woods and there's no tent available, of course, or no cabin, what to do and what to look for. And what is the proper trees to use that make it more comfortable for you, or you can spend a nice night in the woods. Come on with me here, guys. Nope, let me get ahead of you guys. Come on through here. Yeah. Well, some of the trees I'm learning the kids are evergreen trees because in case of a rain or something, you find yourself a big spruce tree, a balsam, or a pine. They're drier underneath it, and the bottom limbs are always dead and dry. You can always make a fire. You can't find a leaning log, guys? You could take a sapling, a maple sapling, climb it up if you have to, pull it down, and you can tie it. You already got a nice ridge pole built for emergency shelter. If you lean a pole against one of them, you can make yourself a lean-to shelter, and it makes the whole night more enjoyable. It keeps you drier. And if you use the balsam and spruce boughs on the ground to lay on, it makes it more comfortable. And use them same evergreens to make a roof over you. It does keep cold out and it keeps the rain out. If you look at that tree right there, see all the dead branches? Spruce trees.
They could fall.
And the balsams. Anytime, middle of a rainstorm, you can go and break the bottom branches and make a fire. They always stay dry. You know that a beaver lives not too far from here. Why do you think he lives not too far?
Water. Oh, because there's a lake close.
There's water, or a lake, or a river, but the beaver, when he's out on land, he's vulnerable to different predators. So when he's this far from land, he can't get in the water and swim away. See those beaver cuttings back there as we walk? Do you see the beaver? So what does that tell you if you find a beaver cutting?
That there's beavers around.
And where do they live at? There's water around here. See where we're at, guys? We're in lowland here. So if you're forced to spend the night, would you rather be in highland or lowland?
Highland.
Highland.
Oh, I try to teach the kids the evergreen trees that we have growing around here. We have the balsam, we have the spruce and the pine. And like I said, the white pine, of course, is our state tree. So it's kind of neat to use that and let them learn something too.
Educating them that this area is a pretty wild area. The UP is not like downstate, so making sure that they can enjoy their outside. And the Life of Lake Superior got its name kind of from the area that we live in, and just that kids should experience these places, Pictured Rocks, the National Forest, and places like that, and just letting them know that there's things to do outside, you know, in their backyards.
Any resident in Alger County, we even have some visitors from very far away. I think this year we have some kids from Texas that are visiting some relatives, but they can come here and a bus picks them up at various locations throughout the county, brings them here for the day, and you know, they get to experience something new each week, and there's different themes and topics every year, every day that we do this, and a great tradition, and it's you know, something that I feel fortunate to be a part of.
Survival skills. Yes, we learned how to build a shelter in the woods and different animal tracks and their poop. Yep. We made animal tracks. And what you need to bring if you get lost in the woods. Yeah. And we're gonna learn to make fires. And we also learned what altitude you need to build your fort at in the woods so you can survive. Mm-hmm. And what you need to use to build a shelter.
All right, so Life of Lake Superior, it's an extension of MSU. And what it is it's every Thursday. And it's a bunch of kids of all ages from, I don't know, I would say like 5 to 14. And what you do is you basically learn everything there is about outdoors and how to eat healthier too. Today, well, my section, we did fire building. So we learned the fire pyramid, what you need, such as fuel, food, and oxygen. And we also built fires too by using tinder, kindling, etc., with actual cedar. So
the first one we went to was shelter building. We learned that don't pick pine, I think, or spruce. Well, there's one of these plants where you can't pick because it'll give you a bad cut in your hand. So you need to use a knife. And Harry told us not to eat anything that you don't know if it's good for you or not. Yeah, starting yesterday. Stop pushing this. Mink. Look at an ice cube. Mink, no.
The William Anderson Sportsman's Club is one of the latest groups to join the Upper Peninsula Sportsmen's Alliance. I was at their club in Hermansville where the UPSA held their latest meeting.
Some of our guests, we have Representative Scott DeAnda.
Good morning, gentlemen.
We have the Wildlife Supervisor for the state of Michigan, Russ Mason. We have the Chairman of the Natural Resources Commission, Mr. John Matonich is with us today.
Good morning.
Among the many articles of interest on the agenda was the presentation of their first ever Outstanding Sportsman Award.
I've been pushing for this for a couple of years. I'm going to read you a part of a press release that was going into the papers today, and that is, we are going to honor today the first UPSA Outstanding Conservationist. Okay, this is our first, and this first one will go to Al Ettenhofer, UP Whitetails co-founder, and he lives here in Escanaba. He helped form 7 UP Whitetails organizations. He serves as chairman of UPSA's CWD committee, He has been a leader in educating the public on CWD, including producing a radio public service announcement and testifying before the Wildlife Committee of Michigan House of Representatives on the problem of potential importation of CWD-infected, improperly processed deer to Michigan. Ettenhofer has been a leader in securing grant funding to enhance whitetail deer habitat in the Upper Peninsula. Among these projects, and this is just a few of them, habitat was approved along the Whitefish River and the Arnold area of Marquette County. Tree planting efforts have also been undertaken via the Forest Land Group and Marquette and Delta County's conservation districts. Grant money has also helped fund deer trapping and tagging. But I'm saying on this, Al is a tremendous and tireless worker for conservation and wildlife in the Upper Peninsula. I say he's a fantastic choice for our first ever Outstanding Conservationist Award. I want to add one thing. The state is forming a focus group on CWD. They're contacting many colleges and getting professors and people to sit down, high-ranking veterinarians, and see if there's something we can do with CWD. And Al got a call from the director 3 days ago. Al is on this committee. He's been appointed by the director, Kia. So Al, and the chairman of the NRC. So Al, congratulations.
That's it for tonight. A big congratulations to Al and his much-deserved recognition. If you'd like to keep tabs on what's coming up on Discovering or see where we've been, go to 906outdoors.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week right here on Discovering.